Good morning. It's good to be with you this morning, and hope that you're going to have a great week. Hope you had a great weekend. Um, I'm continuing to build on the 4 pillars of a healthy Christian business leader. Pillar number 1 being healthy relationships. Number 2, biblical financial values. 3, biblical spirituality, and 4, balanced living. This week, we're focusing on pillar number 2, which is biblical financial values. And the series for this week is just simply buying nice things. And so we're going to talk about that throughout this week. What does that look like? Is it biblical? Is it not? You may have your thoughts on that already, and that's okay. And I'd be always looking forward to comments back. So today I just want to talk about, is it wrong to own nice things? Some would say, well, the answer is yes, it's wrong. And we should sell everything that we have and simply give it to the poor. They would point to the account, it's found in several of the Gospels, but in Mark chapter 10, verse 21, we get this. Jesus looked at him, loved him, and said to him, "You lack one thing, go sell all that you have and give it to the poor, and you will have treasures in heaven, and come follow me." And this is to the rich young ruler who then walks away sadly. And of course, what's going on in that account is the fact that this young man who is self-righteous and thinks that he has accomplished everything in obeying God's Old Testament laws, and he even goes through when Jesus says, "Have you done this?" He says, "Yep, I've obeyed all the laws." And Jesus wants him to know, wait a minute here, there's one law you have definitely not, and that is the law of coveting. And you have wanted and gone after things instead of after God. And so Jesus is trying to drive that home to him in a very practical way. And that's why Jesus says to him, sell everything you have and give it to the poor. Because Jesus knows that this man deep in his heart is serving those things rather than serving God. And so that's the essence, really, of what was going on there. Because, some, of course, would say, well, that statement that Jesus made to this rich young ruler, that settles it, right? We can't own anything nice. We should all be living in basic poverty and be content with that. Yet we have people like King David, King Solomon, who were wealthy, and some say, yeah, but those were kings. But then you have Abraham, who was wealthy, and even Paul speaks about having learned to do without, but also to have much. And so we see there's that balance there. Now in Matthew, Jesus teaches some important things, some important truths about money and owing, and particularly in chapter 6, in verse 24, he says, "No one can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and money." And some translations say it's a mammon, but basically it comes down to money or wealth or the things that you have. You can't serve them both. And so you cannot, you can only have one master is the first thing that we learn in this passage. You can't have 2 masters. And so we have to determine in our own hearts who is our master. So who is our master? Really, that's the big question that I think we need to ask when we look at having things and whether or not we should have things and enjoy them or not. But having money and having things is not the problem in and of itself. And I think that's significant. We need to understand that. It's not about whether or not you have money or don't have money. It's about, basically, are you serving your money or are you serving God? Jesus goes on in that same passage and teaches again in Matthew chapter 6, verse 33, but seek first the kingdom of God, and his righteousness, and all these things will be added to you. So he's not saying that you shouldn't have things. He's not saying that you can't have things. In fact, I think he's saying the complete opposite. What he's saying is don't make that your primary focus. Don't make that the thing that you serve, the thing that drives your life. Make the thing that drives your life the kingdom of God. Seek first the kingdom of God. And when you put God first in your life, in every aspect of your life, when you're putting God first, then He will provide what you need. Now, again, that doesn't mean you're going to necessarily drive a Cadillac, but it does mean if you need a car, God will provide that car for you. And I've experienced that in my own life. And, if you're, God will provide the food that you need to be able to eat. I remember growing up as a missionary's kid and having times when my mom's pantry was basically empty, and recognizing and even saying to my mom, well, I wonder what God's going to do. And God would provide. Someone would drop off a box of canned goods, or someone would drop off a check, or just all kinds of ways in which God provided year after year down through those years on the mission field. So we know that when we put God first in our life, then He will also provide what our needs are. And so today, as you go about your day, remember, having money and things is okay. Serving them is not. And that's where the difference is. It's okay, but serving them is not. May we put the kingdom of God first in all that we do. And that doesn't mean you have to become a pastor or become a missionary. You can serve God in whatever job it is you have. You can still put Him first, and He will provide for you. Have a great day, and I'll see you again tomorrow.